Every year in the US 5 people die and $10 million of damage is caused as a result of deep frying a turkey. This appears to be a festive tradition among bearded flag-draped men with hunting knives and baggy shorts, men for whom freedom's just another word for caramelizing your own arteries and shouting a lot on YouTube. But freedom comes at a cost. Each deep-fried turkey takes 7 gallons of superheated fat. A special chain is required to lower it into its hell cauldron. Moisture is the key issue. A pocket of concealed water inside the turkey can cause it to explode into a roiling spume of flames and fat. All things considered, it would probably be more sensible to cook these turkeys in the oven, to play it straight. But then, you don't get a special chain. You don't get 7 gallons of oil, or great melting mouthfuls of face-scalding fat-soaked bird, so tangy and moist and crispy-skinned you're already salivating over it now. Bad ideas that look delicious. Delicious ideas that are, despite being delicious, also clearly very bad. Ideas that end up with everyone catching salmonella. The house on fire in England 86 for 8 on a nibbly green seam. There was a note of this in the first sight of England's squad for the Lord's Test against Pakistan next week, with specific reference to the gripping, oddly decadent selection of Jos Buttler as a specialist number 7 batsman, given license to wander out, sniff the air and basically make the game up in front of him. There is a degree of natural resistance to this, a sense that to pick Buttler is to devalue decisively the proving grounds of county cricket. Buttler averages 17 in 4 red ball games over the past year. His selection is at odds with all we have heard about the informed methods of Ed Smith, out there crunching his data curves, occasionally emitting a clank of excitement over some outstanding first innings metrics from the strangely overlooked Cakebread Thomas of Derbyshire seconds. He could probably buy a plastic bat in the Catford branch of Sports Direct without anyone offering a yawn of recognition. Instead we have this. Faced with an ailing team and a general anxiety about how to make all forms of cricket more instantly comestible, the selectors have reached for the most Moorish option, have decided, basically, to just give up and deep fry the turkey. And yet it is undeniably the right thing to do. Not playing Buttler when you have the chance to play Buttler, that really would be weird. He hasn't been picked because of the IPL, Smith said this week. But he clearly has. Buttler has been picked, in part, because he is famous, because right now he is among the top 3 hottest, most luminously attractive cricketers in the current edition of the 6th biggest sporting league in the world. This is simply the truth and everyone involved should embrace it, because it's both entirely sensible and entirely consistent with the England and Wales Cricket Board's more gimmicky attempts to popularise the game. If we're willing to junk the basic robustness of the sport via the 100, to introduce the new Colts cricket rules trail this week, ditch the LBW law, double run maxi zones in the field, then it looks like old school good sense to pick the most pop famous cricketer in the country as often as possible. The fact is Buttler stands outside the normal rules and numbers. This has been said before about other cricketers, but in this case it's actually true. He was a ludicrous spectacle in the IPL this year, driving and cutting and gliding his way to 389 runs off 258 balls at an average of 97, with that familiar, beautifully delicate kind of violence in those whip-crack wrists. It is traditional at this point to suggest batting on pitches where the ball moves, where a flighty 50 can lose a game rather than win it, is a different matter altogether. Plus Buttler has been batting with a self-made technique in India, adopting that white ball power hitting stance, front leg shifted to one side so he can hit in front of square from the same base, sending the ball through the field in a weird flat, scything arc. The thing is, it works. Just as moving up to open has worked, despite the need to adapt instantly to new angles, speeds, pressures. English cricket has no history of producing unorthodox players, certainly not at this global genius level. But for once it is perhaps simply time to go with it. Rajasthan Royals cricketer Jos Buttler plays an outrageous ramp shot to clear for 6. Photograph. Divyanshu Sakare FP. The real issue around Buttler's career isn't his ability to defend against the swinging ball. The absurdity of mature Buttler is that he is essentially a blank in his own country. A category A sports person in a global game who could probably walk in and buy a plastic bat in the Catford branch of Sports Direct without anyone offering a yawn of recognition. This week the chairman of the ECB told us children just don't like cricket. This is of course dangerous nonsense. The game is good. The talent is there. But it is also invisible to swathes of the population, just as Buttler has become English sport's great invisible superstar, hidden away behind the high hedge on the last remaining patch of green. For an industry that spends a lot of time quivering and whining about what it doesn't have, Buttler is the asset, the talent. Center stage may be a little left of center these days. But it's time to get him out there.